Are we live? We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Recap. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Another loss. Was expecting a loss. It wasn't as bad as a loss as we thought we were going to get. Um, have some surprising stuff, to be quite honest, that, you know, might shock some people. But listen, it's a 1-0 loss away from home. Bigger picture with Manchester United, we shouldn't be losing at home. We shouldn't be taking these L's. But with the current situation that the squad is in, what do you expect? We're gonna do player ratings. We're gonna do all that good stuff. If you can, smash the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notifications so you know when we go live. And let's get straight into it. I think today's match. Listen, I wasn't expecting a win. To be quite honest, when I seen the team today, I pictured that we could lose maybe 4-0, 5-6, who knows. You're talking about either the first or second best team in the league. And to be honest, Arsenal were not great. I don't think they were great. Now there's a great debate going on here between if that was Arsenal's game plan or they just didn't show up and played that great. I think we played all right. But as the thumbnail says and the title says, there was nothing more that we could do. There was nothing more that we could do than what we did. With what we have available, with the current state of the squad, there's really nothing else that we could have done. In this performance. And the sad part about that is that we needed more. Because I don't even think we played that bad. And if we had a little bit extra, if we had a couple more players that could give that little bit extra, I think maybe the result would have been different. But we didn't. We don't have that available. So, there's nothing that we could really do. I think the players on the pitch gave pretty much everything that they could. We're playing without a left back. We have no center backs. But it wasn't the performance against Crystal Palace. It wasn't the same performance. It was an improved performance, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. And, while I'm trying to give the team some positives here, at the same time, I'm going to criticize the team once again because I've said this multiple times. We get into a match, you come up against an Arsenal, they play better. They play with at least some fight. They show a little bit of something. We play Crystal Palace, we play away from home. We have absolutely nothing and we show absolutely nothing and we get dominated and we get embarrassed. It is the theme of this team. They have been doing this all season. And while I was expecting to lose, and I wouldn't have been surprised if we lost 4-0, I'm also not surprised that we only conceded one goal. We conceded the goal again of our own doing. I don't think Arsenal were that great. I don't think Arsenal really threatened that much. Then again, they got the goal. And all they needed was the win, and they needed to, all they needed to do was hold on to that. They didn't really need to be risky. They have the best defense in the league. I think they did their job. And I think their job was to go there and make sure that they didn't blow their lead. They didn't draw the match, or lose the match. And I think that's what they did. But they, to me, weren't as great as I thought they could be. And that's what it is. Lion, good to see you in the chat, buddy. We got a preference today. Yeah, it's good to see you, buddy. What do you think of the match, Lion? What do you think of the performance, the result? How you feeling? Get in the comments, buddy. I think I think there was nothing more that this squad could do with what we had available. I think Garnacho, while it wasn't his best day, I don't think he played horrible. He did have the attacking intent. but he struggled to break down. And I mean, Arsenal have the best defense in the league for a reason. He struggled to break down that Ben White and Saliba combo. Um, I mean, kudos to him to not giving up. He kept going. He kept trying. He just couldn't get it done. I think Amrabat played pretty well today. I think Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag did a decent job today with what he could. I think it was. I think it was a good tactical thing that he actually threw Amrabat in there and benched Ericsson because Amrabat is just a more defensive player, and it made the middle of the pitch a little bit more defensively solid. And I think that's what we needed. I think we've been needing that, and that's a criticism and a positive to Ten Hag because he should have made that type of change earlier. I feel like what he was going with in that midfield wasn't working. I understand you got to shift Casemiro in the back, but listen, Amrabat is supposed to be the backup center defensive mid, and you were leaving Ericsson out there, and I think that was leaving us exposed with that midfield that was going through Ericsson, Mainu, and Bruno, or Mount or whatever. I don't think that midfield is very good. I think putting Amrabat in there helped us a little bit more in that midfield. And while Amrabat isn't the best, he's better than what we have, which is nothing. You know what I mean? So I think Scott McTominay was pretty much non-existent today. He made himself available, and that's all we could really ask for at this current state of the squad. I think Ahmad played very, very well. I was happy that Ahmad got his start. I was happy that Ten Hag gave Ahmad his start and gave him a good 70-something minutes or whatever it was. And I think that, he showed why we keep asking for him to get more chances. I think I seen a couple people criticize him. The performance, you meant performance line. I think I seen a couple people criticizing Ten Hag for not giving Ahmad his more minutes or whatever, but I think we seen the reason why. It's not based on performances, and I don't think it's that Ten Hag doesn't like him. I think it's the fact that there is a worry that he might be slightly injury prone, or he is not 100% there yet in his fitness. He might still be making his way back to making himself 100% strong again, because as we've seen, he did go down. He did have a little problem with his knee. Now, I did see after the match that I think he said that, it was just a small little thing, and it's nothing major, and I think he's all right. But it's definitely a concern, and I think Erik ten Hag is looking out for that, and which is why he has been less reluctant to give him more time. Even for the fact of, as soon as he went down, he pulled him off and put on Anthony. I think he is concerned about Diallo. I think they know more than they're telling us. And I think he's watching out for him and making sure that this guy doesn't suffer a major setback and a major injury, because that would be horrible for the kid. I want the kid to stay fit. If that means the kid only plays 45 minutes, if that means the kid only plays 25 minutes for now, listen, we're at the end of the season. There's no reason to push him to the maximum and make him sustain some type of a horrible injury. Let's just get to the end of the season. The season is over anyway. All we have is that FA Cup. That's one match pretty much. And and let the kid recover comfortably and gear up for next season and be ready to go stronger and fitter than ever. That's where I am on Ahmad. But I think he showed very good quality today, and I'm happy with his performance, and I'm happy that Ten Hag gave him the opportunity, and he was taking his chances to the best of his ability. Lines is saying you meant to say performance. At least we got a performance today. So yeah, I mean, we're home, right? And it's a big match, and that's probably the bare minimum that we could give some type of a performance. And as I already stated, it's in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't good enough. But for where we are and where we've been and what we just showed against Crystal Palace, it's definitely an improvement. And it was definitely something. They showed something. Because at Palace, I would say they showed absolutely nothing. We had absolutely nothing. And for where the squad is in terms of player availability, they did what they could. Unfortunately, it's not enough. Against a team that is, you would say, either the best or the second best in the league, we needed more, and there was nothing more that we could offer. That's just where we are at. It is the story of the season, pretty much. But again, part of what bothers me is that they seem to do this a lot. And I've said this in multiple match reactions. I've said this in multiple different, videos, that it seems like when we play a smaller team, they don't do the same thing when they play an Arsenal, when they play, um, a bigger team, when it's a bigger match. And that is a problem on the players. And the players, we all know the players are the issue. We all know the players are the biggest issue. That needs to be sorted out. And can I just say, also, absolute disgrace that again, after the final whistle, it was a waterfall at Old Trafford. That fucking leak is still there, and it's absolutely disgraceful. And I don't know what they need to do to fix that shit. But so help me, that thing better be fixed by the start of next season. Because if it's not, I don't know. It's just disgraceful to fucking see that there is a giant hole in the stadium that fucking creates a waterfall for our fans. And while I'm speaking on the fans, I want to just say, absolutely, our fans are absolutely number one. The the backing that they were giving that team today, the support, the just being loud, just showing up, drowning out the Arsenal fans that were, rightfully chanting on their team. They were in a winning position for basically almost the entire game. And our fans were absolutely fantastic. They showed 100% support. They were loud. They never stopped backing the team, but at the end it kind of died down because we were dead. We were dead on our feet. Kobe, I think, was very, very tired at the end. You could tell. A lot of players were gassed. I think even Garnacho was gassed. That's why you saw like the last 10 minutes, he made some very poor choices, very poor execution. I think the kid was dead on his feet. There's a lot of players out there that are dead on their feet because we are down to the bare minimum of our squad, and they are not getting any type of rest anymore, because we need them to play. I think, Ten Hag put on the kids at the end. I think he gave them good amount of time, 10 minutes, got them in, let them get some match experience. He let the team go as far as possible, but at the end, like I said, I think they ran out of gas, a lot of those players on the pitch, and that's all we really had on the bench. My one thing though, well, I will criticize him at, is I would have taken Scott McTominay off, but again, as we see, Scott McTominay was made the captain. And this just seems to be a reoccurring thing for Ten Hag. He does not take off his captain. Whoever the captain is, whoever's wearing that armband, that guy will never get substituted. That guy will never come off the pitch. I don't know why he's like that. Plenty of people substitute the captains, especially if they need a rest or something, and the armband is given to somebody else. But as you could clearly see, Casemiro was given the captaincy in the last match, and he did not retain that captaincy, and it was given to Scott McTominay as soon as he was available. So that tells you something right there. But I would have taken McTominay off, and I would have put Christian Eriksen up in that hole, or at least shift Eriksen back and put Maino up there, because I think we needed a little bit more up top and around the box. And I just think Scott was very, very non-existent today, and I think that would have been the opportunity to put Eriksen in there. Maybe he could have created something, or just let Kobe go forward, man, because I think Kobe played a great game anyway. He did very, very well on the ball. Sometimes taking on 2-3 players, being pressed by 2-3 players, retaining the possession and making a play out of it. I think he did what he had to do. Lions is saying, yeah, the support was class. Garnacho was really good today, but the whole team was pretty decent, to be fair. Yeah, I, I don't necessarily disagree. I think the one thing that we've seen that highlights an issue, and I'm not trying to go in on these guys, but I think what highlights an issue today is I think that Garnacho did do good for parts or certain parts of the game. Obviously, the final third, the end product was very much lacking. Um, but that was across the whole front of the team was lacking. It was lacking. We were missing Bruno Fernandes today. We were missing our creator who creates all of the chances. Um, but the issue that it highlights is those wingers, and I've said this many times, they are not wingers. They are inside forwards. And if we are to create more chances, and in terms probably score more goals, because the more chances you create, you would say, we would probably score more the more opportunities you create. At least you would hope. The biggest problem, is that they are not real wingers. They are not. I don't even want to say real wingers. They're not traditional wingers. They are not creative wingers. They are wingers. They are inside forwards. They look to cut inside and have a shot on goal. And that is not has not been working for us. And I don't think it works. I don't think it works. I think it's a very imbalanced thing. I think you can have one guy like that on one side, and the other side, you have to have a creator. You have to have a creator. And the issue is we don't have that. We don't have a creator. Anthony cuts inside. Garnacho cuts inside. Rashford, when he's available, cuts inside, looks for a shot. They all cut inside and look for a shot. They do not look to create the chances. And I think that is an imbalance in the team, which is why some people are saying, we need Michael Elise. Because Elise is more of a creator. Now, he does cut inside and have a shot, but he does mix it up very well. And the guy does look to create chances. So I don't know. But, I mean, for me, if you're not selling Sancho and Anthony or something like that, Elise I cannot be the priority because we need a striker. We need center backs. We probably need a left back, a right back of some sort. We need midfielders. So we have a lot of things that we need to take care of. And, I don't know. We got to get to the end of the summer. But I think if you see what's going on right now, Ten Hag is not rushing back Rashford. He's not rushing back Bruno. Obviously, they were in training. They probably could have at least made it to the bench. Maybe played 15, 20 minutes. I don't know 100% their status. But I think he's trying to ensure that these guys are 100% as fit as possible for that FA Cup final. It looks like they have made some type of a decision to try and be as strong as possible for that FA Cup. And I think he really wants to win that thing. Whether that's because he knows it'll save his job or not, I don't know. I just think that he thinks it's very important. It's the most important thing we have left because the league position is screwed. And that cup is the only thing. I mean, listen, Arsenal, they beat us today. They beat us and we were home. Arsenal could finish the season with no silverware. And we could finish with a trophy, if we somehow beat Manchester City, So Lion saying to me, Cass was actually goodish as well, and yeah, Scott was a bit of a ghost. Cass was improved. Obviously, I still think he was at fault for the goal. Because if you watch the back, I don't know what he was doing all the way back there. You got to get up with the rest of your defenders, with the rest of your line, and he basically allowed whoever it was on that wing to get that freedom and that space in behind because he was so far back. But in terms of the performance he put in the last 2 matches at center back, yeah, he was better. he was better. But obviously, it's not his position, and he still made some questionable decisions at times. Like when he decided to shoot from 40 fucking yards out, there was no reason for that. There was no reason for that. You just keep the ball moving. Keep it moving. I mean, we had numbers in and around the box. And he just kicks the ball and gives it away, and we give away possession. And then this is something that's been happening all season as well. We need to do better at retaining the possession when we have the ball. Don't give it away so cheaply. If you give it away, it has to come off of at least a good chance created or something like that. And Lyons is saying, you're right, we used to have Giggs, who was the flair, and Bex was who was Bex. Yeah, Bex was Bex. Bex don't need no explaining of who Bex is. But yeah, it's certainly just an imbalance in the team line. It's you can see it. You know what I mean? You can see it. All of our guys, they just cut inside, and actually something else that I've been quite arguing. And I can't even tell you really what the formation ended up being, because it was just kind of it seemed a little bit of a mess. But at the end of the game, we had Anthony and Garnacho were both on the left. I don't know if we were playing like a 3-4-3 of some sort, but Anthony, and I will stick to this until he is either no longer a player or the change is made. But for me, Anthony on the left-hand side is way better than Anthony on the right-hand side. I think it makes Anthony less predictable. He's so predictable on the right because he's limited with his right foot. And he's going to just always cut inside. And if he can't cut inside, he has to turn around and pass the ball backwards. I see it in him when he's playing, when he has the ball. He gets into certain areas with the ball in his feet, and you can tell he is very uncomfortable, and he most likely turns around and just passes the ball backwards instead of going forward and attacking. When he moved to that left-hand side, he looked way more comfortable in terms of just body language, because he can operate a little bit more freely and a little bit more easily on the left-hand side. I don't know why Ten Hag hasn't just given him a run of games on the left-hand side. I don't know why he's sticking with Anthony on that right-hand side when Anthony is not producing on the right-hand side. It's one thing if the guy is creating loads of chances or scoring, some type of goals. He went to left back again, yeah, but he was so far pushed up, it was like he was playing left wing. And I was like, I want to see this guy over here. I want to see him over there because I think he just looks naturally better on the left-hand side. Like him playing on the right might have worked at Ajax, and it might have worked in the Dutch league, but it's not working in the Premier League. It's two different leagues. It's two different teams. So try something different. I don't understand why he is, just being the stubborn guy that he is, and he refuses to put him over there. But I think for the amount of time that Anthony played over there, I think he looked far better than what he was showing in the couple minutes that he was playing on the right. So I really want to see that change, and I hope at some point, probably for this season it's done. It's a tough decision anyway because Garnacho does play the best on his left, but I think Garnacho being more two-footed, is the better option than for the right than Anthony is being completely one-footed pretty much and playing also on the right. So it is what it is. We could do some player ratings, I guess. I have them somewhere. So Andre Onana, I give him a 6. 6.5. I mean, the guy, he made some pretty important saves. There was at least 3 big ones that he made. I don't think he did anything bad per se. So I don't think he deserves any score below an average. Obviously conceded a goal, but what we're gonna do. I would like to see old-fashioned 4-4-2 formation one day. Yeah. That was the formation I always loved. That was always my go-to formation. But I don't know if that formation necessarily works in today's game. You know what I mean? I just don't know if it, because of the way everybody else is set up, and a lot of teams play 4-2-3-1, and that kind of negates the whole 4-4-2. But yeah, I miss that formation. That formation used to be the elite formation. You know what I mean? And while I'm doing the player ratings, if you guys want, get involved. Drop your scores in the chat if you disagree with me or you think otherwise. Um, so yeah, Onana, I give him a 6.5. While I don't think he had like so much to do, I think he did have certain things that he did. You know what I mean? And he did make some couple big saves. So that was for me was good for him. Wan-Bissaka, I'm gonna give Wan-Bissaka a 5. Um, Not really for the defensive part, but this is something I said during the match. Him going forward is an absolute disaster. You can tell he is not comfortable on the ball. He is not comfortable going forward. You could see it when he's on the ball, and this is why I'm saying that he needs to be sold. I think he is sound defensively. We all know he's a master when it comes to going to ground and slide tackling and just getting the ball and getting his foot in there on the ball and making a good tackle. Um, but the way we need to progress, the way we need to go forward, the way we need to play a more modern style of game, he is not fit for that. He is not fit for that style for one of these teams that are going to play that way. He is more suited for a mid-table team. Now, ironically enough, we are currently a mid-table team. So, but yeah, I think going forward he was not great at all. There was too many times where he just didn't pass the ball in the correct spaces. He didn't go forward at the right times. So for me, 5. Casemiro, it's a tough one because I do blame him for the goal. But I think the rest of his performance was actually pretty solid. So it's like between a 5.5 for me. Um, I would have probably gave him a 6. But it probably has to be a 5 for me because he was definitely at fault for the goal. That the fact that he was just back there and he was jogging, like you got to get up there. You got to make sure you get with the rest of your defenders. You are literally exposing your team, and it's just the wrong decision. Like he was just back there looking at the play pretty much and just jogging. Like you have to get up with the rest of your defensive line. And if he did, they would have probably never scored that goal because they wouldn't have the ball would have never been able to go over the top. That guy, he would have been offsides. Um, you know what I mean? I think Johnny Evans put in a pretty good shift. I give him a 6. Um, you know, wasn't fit from last match and played again. Played almost 90 minutes. I don't even know how fit he was to play the amount of time he played, but again, hats off to him for being available. 30 what is he? 36-year-old man. Uh and he's given us more than I could have ever imagined when we signed him in the summer. And my respect for Johnny Evans will never falter. The guy is an absolute beast. The guy is an absolute monster. And he is a United player through and through. He knows what it is. Delo, maybe like a 6. I think his performance was pretty average. I don't think Delo was bad. I think Delo tried to create going forward. He put in a couple crosses. Some weren't that great. Some were good. He tried to do a couple shots here and there. I think one was good. One wasn't so great. I don't think Delo played bad. I don't think Delo did like above average. I don't think he was, spectacular or anything like that. But I don't think he was horrible. I think he just had a pretty average game and he did some good things, some bad. So, 6 for me. I think Amrabat's going on like a 6.5 to like maybe a 7. I think Amrabat played very well today. I think Amrabat made some very good tackles important tackles. He showed strength in that midfield at times. I think I think him being there and the performance he put in helped us out very much. In being more secure. Evans should have never been sold. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple players maybe you would argue that point. There was definitely players that maybe shouldn't have been sold, and there was others that probably definitely should have been sold. But again, that's line straight to the poor recruitment, the poor planning, the poor whole, the whole thing was that led to that. But Amrabat, I think Amrabat did some very, very good things. I think he helped us out. I think he played a role into why we weren't so as exposed. Obviously, we kept the shape a lot better today, but I think just him being the more defensive abled and more defensive minded player and being in that midfield, I think helped a lot. And I think he did a lot of things. Um, that helped us out and be a lot more stronger in that midfield. And you know what, I'm gonna be completely honest. I think the guy's gonna be my man of the match today. I think he performed very well. The only crux of his ability is that he is slow, and that is something that he can't really help. But where he gets caught up is that he is slow. When he wins the ball back and he's running up the pitch with the ball, and he gets caught up by the guy he just stole the ball, and then it turns into a situation where he might potentially lose it in a bad spot and leave us open to some type of a counterattack or something like that. Or we just need him to be a little bit quicker to get rid of the ball, and he's a little bit slow in that aspect. And I think that's where he really suffers, because I think sort of defensively, positioning wise, strength wise, and tackling, I think he's very good. It's him being slow that hurts his game, and I don't think it helps him so much in the Premier League, which is a fast paced league. Obviously, in the Serie A, I think he gets away with it. Yeah, the passing, that's what I'm saying. The passing, he gets a little crazy because I think he's not quick enough, and then he does, like, he almost panics into, like, he's like, shit, I need to get rid of the ball, or I need to, move it on. And or I've been on the ball too long, and it seems like he makes sort of a rash decision when he goes to make those passes. But yeah, his passing is a little bit wild though. That's another thing where he is not 100% great. Obviously, we could use better passing, but again, for what we have available, I think he did well, and I think he helped us out. Kobe Mainu, I would even give Kobe Mainu a 6.5 today. I think Kobe was very good. I think Kobe got tired at some point in the match, and the kid is, he looked dead. He looked like he was out of energy at the end of it. I was almost saying, like, Ten Hag maybe just sub him off because the kid was dead. You could tell that he's been playing every single match. The guy has no rest, and he's been doing a lot of work on the pitch too. It's not just like he's just standing, in the back, just sitting around. I mean, the kid was running around, getting pressed by 3 or 4 players at times, holding up players, holding on to the ball, trying to make a play, going forward. I think he did a lot today, and I think he did as much as he could. And I think at the end of it, he ran out of gas. And kudos to the kid. You think he'll get a permanent deal at the end of the season? No. No, I don't think so. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't give him one. I don't think he is the right player. I don't think he fits the Premier League necessarily. And I don't think, from what we've seen from him throughout the season, I don't think he's shown enough. I think today he was good. But there's been other times where he's been very, very poor. And he's looked off of it. And I personally wouldn't give him a permanent deal. I think there's other players out there that you could get that would probably offer more than he has this season. But I don't think so. I don't think so. There hasn't really been talk of him getting a permanent deal, and I don't think they're looking to give him one. I think from what they've seen, I think they've already decided that he's not going to get one. But I will give him credit when it's due, and I think today he played it good and he showed a good performance. And I wish he could have done this more throughout the season. But yeah, I that's just where it is. Scott McTominay, 5, 4. I feel like 4 is like I feel like 4 is a little bit harsh because it's like 4 is like to me it's like you absolutely shit. I just think Scott was just not really too involved today. I don't think it was like he was on the ball and he was god awful like we've seen him do in some other games, but you know, he just wasn't involved in the game. So 5, 4, 4.5, something like that. For me. Yeah, the chat's been very quiet. Lines is the whole chat today. I mean, it is Mother's Day. Um, and Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. If you got a mother out there, still around, it is what it is. But people might be busy. Our usual group might not be as around. They got things going on. I actually have to go do things after this. That's why I'm trying to keep it a little bit more short, and I'm getting through these player ratings. But Ahmad, I would give Ahmad 6.5. I think I liked what I saw from the kid today. And he showed why we keep asking for him to get more chances. Obviously, he needs to do a little bit more. But at the end of the day, like we said, the entire team needs to do a little bit more, and we don't have it in us to do a little bit more right now. But again, to be fair to Ahmad, to do a little bit more, right? You need more run of games. You need to develop. You need more match time. So I think it's touch and go with him, but he does show that he has quality, that he does have ability. I think he was very, very brave. I think he showed confidence when he was on the ball. Trying to he was taking on like 2 or 3 players. He was doing a little bit of skill moves. He was being very, very direct, and I like that. And I think Ahmad actually has the potential to be one of those players that we were talking about, where he does look to provide as more of a traditional winger and not the guy that's always cutting inside trying to get a shot. I think he has the potential for that, excuse me. But he needs more game time for me. I think it's a little bit harsh on him to criticize him so hardly. Obviously, expectations, and we want more, and we always want more, and we always want better, and I understand that, but you have to look at the circumstance of the whole thing, and it's like, bro, the guy hasn't been playing as much as probably we would like him to, or as much as people think he should. Therefore, it's like, how do you expect the guy to just like come on and be elite? He needs more playing time. He needs to get that experience. But I think he was very, very good today, in my opinion. I liked what I saw from him. He excited me, and I felt pretty confident with him there. You liked what you saw from him today too, Lion? That's good. That's good. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know that kid has that in him. But I just feel like he needs a more regular run of games so that he can sustain that. I think it's very tough on him when, for example, he's playing 75 minutes. We go to play in the next match. If he doesn't start, right, and he plays like 20 minutes, or he plays 15 minutes, or he doesn't play at all, which is what happened to him, I think it's hard for him to get some type of a flow, some type of a pattern. It kind of takes you out of your rhythm, and it's very tough on him. When somebody that's trying to develop their game and find their foot in the team, and it's like a lot of disruption, you know what I mean? But I think he has that ability, and I think he can grow on it. So, Garnacho, I'll give him a 6. Like I said, I think, the end product from him, the final ball in the final third, was poor today. He struggled to get past Ben White and Saliba. That combo did a good job of pretty much locking him down, but at the same time, he did do good to get and threaten and get on like in and around their box, and he never stopped. He never stops. That's Garnacho. He's always direct. You know what you're gonna get from him. It was just that lacking of the final third, but I think Garnacho still had a decent game, average game in my opinion. He's 19. Obviously, still needs to develop more. But age is on his side right now. 19-year-old. He is going to develop more as long as we take care of him, and he continues to work hard. The whole thing can't be on the weight of the weight of the world cannot be on a 19-year-old as much as it has been, and he's at moments throughout the season. Him, Kobe, a lot of the young guys. It has been on their shoulders, but it shouldn't be. And we see reasons why it shouldn't be. Because at times, again, they are kids and they need help from the more senior players. Listen, when kids come in, 19 years old, 18 years old, it's totally great when they show up and they are absolutely exceptional for that one match, that two match, the three match. Maybe they go on a little bit of a run, but as a young guy, you are going to hit a period or multiple different games where you are not going to be giving your best performance, and that's where the more experienced players come in, and they need to help you over the line in those situations. The problem we have is that we don't really have that shit at the moment, because all our players are really kind of struggling, so it's really been more on them. Hoyland, you're giving Hoyland a 5. If I was being dastardly, I would give him a 4, but I do a 5. Yeah, I think it would be a little bit unfair to give him a 4 line. But yeah, I was gonna give him a 5 as well. It's the same story. I mean, I don't want to. I feel like I come here and I keep saying it. You know what I mean? But there's certain moments in the game where it's like, okay, maybe he didn't get in the correct position the first time, maybe he didn't make the correct run the first time, but then there is a point in the match where he does make the correct run, or he does have himself in the right position, and they don't look at him. They don't look to give him the ball, and it's such a difficult thing, because it's like, how do you really judge this kid when he's not really getting the service? And I know he's not getting the service because if you put in another striker, the way we play, they're not getting the service. I mean, even if Martial was there, he's probably not going to get the service. You see, when Rashford is, and Rashford ain't a striker, but when Rashford shifted to striker, he doesn't really get the service either. So it's really a team issue. It is a team issue, because it's like, even how many different players you're going to put there, and the same thing happens to them where they don't really get the ball. I mean, like with Rashford, we try to hit balls over the top because they know that he's going to be making a run in behind. But I was like, dude, there's a couple times during the match where Rasmus Højlund is basically breaking the line of the defense, and it's like all he needs is a ball just slotted in between their right back and center back, because he's right there, and just slot the ball through and give him a through ball, and they don't look at that. They end up passing it to somebody else, and it's just like, Lion, you're saying you never know what the wide players are going to do, so he can't make the runs. Exactly. But that's a very good point, and that's what I'm saying. It's just it is a team issue. It is a team issue, and that needs to be sorted. Because to be fair to Rasmus Højlund, this hasn't just happened under Erik ten Hag. This has happened under a couple different managers with a couple different strikers, where they literally play in a graveyard shift. Like, they get the least amount of touches on the ball, they get the least looks, they are the least involved, and they are the striker. And there's been multiple players that this has happened to. So, on top of that, you're talking about another young kid, 19, and he is been our only striker, our only real striker that's been available all season long. And again, all the weight has been put on his shoulders when it really shouldn't be. You know, of course, when you come to Manchester United, you need to perform. You need to have something about you. You need to have some type of ability, and I think he does. But at the same time, he's in a struggling, decimated squad that's providing him almost no service. And then it's like, how do you really go and criticize the guy and say, oh, he's not good enough, or he played like shit today? Obviously, there's always room for improvement. There's always things that he can do better. He'll tell you that right away. He'll accept a lot of the responsibility for things that I don't even think sometimes are necessarily his fault, but that's just the type of player he is. If you ever heard him speak, he does accept a lot of responsibility. He does say, this is my fault, but there's a lot of things that are not his fault. So I just, listen, next season, I expect Rasmus to give us more. I also expect us to have another striker, somebody he can learn off of, somebody that he can play with. So, next season I will be more leaning towards criticizing him a little bit more, but just this season, first season, 19-year-old, I cannot criticize him in the way that I see some people criticizing him. Anthony, 5, 6. I don't think Anthony, he wasn't on for so long. I don't think Anthony did anything bad. I think, like Lion said, he got shifted. I don't think they'll get another center forward. Well, they got to get somebody. We have to have a striker. I mean, if it's not a center forward, it's got to be a striker. But even so, even as the striker, you could still learn from the guy. You know what I mean? But they have to get somebody. They have to. There's no way that we don't get somebody. We cannot continue. We cannot go into another season with no striker. A center forward, I don't think you necessarily need one. If he is the center forward, you know what I mean. But as a striker, no, we need a striker. We need one. We need somebody, and we need somebody that has some type of experience for sure. Anthony, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he showed a little bit of fight. I actually liked what I seen from him when he got moved out to the left-hand side. I think, again, like I said in the beginning, he's fairly more comfortable. He looks more comfortable on that side. I would like to see him play on that side. Unfortunately, again, I think the imbalance of the squad is a problem, because it seems like everybody wants to play on that left-hand side and nobody can really play on the right-hand side. I mean, when Garnacho, and I think Garnacho is better to play on the right than Anthony is, but when Garnacho plays on the right, he's less involved in the match, and that's just the way we play. We play heavily down the left-hand side, heavily, and it don't matter who's there. If Rashford's there, we're playing heavily down the left-hand side. If Garnacho's there, we're playing heavily down the left-hand side. We normally play heavily down the left-hand side more than the right-hand side. So it's unfortunate, because it just seems like that will never happen. I will never get my wish. But what I seen from him on that left-hand side, I think he was more comfortable. And I don't think he did anything wrong. The substitutes, Kumbala, I think 6. One thing about Anthony is that he does play for the badge, in my opinion. No, Anthony always fights. He always gives you he always gives fight on the pitch. He always has aggression and eagerness, and wants to go out on the pitch and battle it out and try and do something. The problem is I think he's really suffering on that right hand side, because I just feel like he doesn't feel comfortable when he's there. See, he starts second guessing himself, and then his confidence is down a little bit when he's on the ball, and it's so important to have confidence. When you're an attacker, and I think he starts second guessing himself internally because he doesn't feel as comfortable, and I think he would be a lot more better on the left-hand side, and I think we would see him create more. I think he would. I think we would see Anthony create a lot more if he could play on the left-hand side, because it would be easier for him to put the ball in the box, to pass the ball even to just dribble down the line and cut inside to the box, it would be easier for him, and he could lay the ball off inside of the box. I think it would be easier for him. But the imbalance of the squad is there's not really the freedom to do that, because as I said, it seems like everybody wants to play on the left and nobody wants to play on the right. And I guess because he played on the right at Ajax and Ten Hag was the manager, I guess he's sticking with Anthony playing on the right because he's looking at the other guys and he's like, well, these guys play way better on the left and they don't play on the right. I don't know what it is, but no, I agree, Lion, that he does always play for the badge. But the problem is that we need output. We need output from him, and on that right-hand side, he's just too far predictable, so it kind of negates his playing for the badge a lot of the times when he's not creating something on the ball. But all the substitutes, I'm just going to give him a 6. It was all the kids. I think the kids did well. Eriksson did alright. They got like 10 minutes. Nothing majorly to judge. Wheatley didn't really get any chances. You know what I mean? And Ten Hag, I'd give him a 6 for today. I think for what he did, sounds like you should pop in your CV. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love it. Give me a match. Give me one match. And let's see how it goes. I'll take a 1-match contract. And if we don't win that match, I resign. Or the contract ends effective immediately. I'll take the one match contract. If I win, we'll keep rolling with a 1-match contract. And if I get to 5 matches unbeaten, they gotta give me at least a year. Nah, it's just certain things. But again, it's just me speaking from the outside. We don't see the players every day. We don't see what they give in training. We don't see, we don't see them every single day. We don't see them for multiple hours and hours and hours. There's always other reasons that we are not privy to. So, but just speaking from the outside, that's what I see and that's what I judge. On the inside, it might be a different story. I might walk in there, right? I might do the training and all that stuff, and I might end up doing the same thing Ten Hag's doing. You never know. We might have certain thinkings and ways, but when you're really in there and you see what's going on, right? It might change your thought or opinion. You might have to make a different decision. But just from the outside in, that's how I'm seeing it. And Ten Hag gives me I give him a 6. I think 6 because there's nothing really more he could have done. I think he did what he did. Richard Hawkins joining us. Richard, how you doing? I think he did what he could. I think he made the correct decision in putting an Amrabat, right? I think the team was set up pretty good. I like the fact that he put in Diallo on the right, Garnacho on the left, and Højlund up top. I don't think there was much more that Erik Ten Hag could really do. The only thing that I said where I criticized would be at some point I probably 65th, 70th minute, I would have taken Christian Eriksen and I would have subbed him on for Scott McTominay because I think Scott McTominay was very invisible today. It could have been worse, Richard. Could have been worse. I know you missed the beginning of the show. But pretty much as I titled it, we gave everything we could. I saw the lineup today, and I was worried. I could have seen a 4-0, a 5-0 going based off of the performance of what we shown at Crystal Palace. Obviously we didn't do that. You know what I mean? I think obviously the performance was improved. I don't know how much that goes down to Arsenal. Part of me feels like Arsenal were kind of in second gear, but also part of me don't want to really give them that much credit because I don't think they were that great. You know what I mean? The only thing I would fault him for is playing Casemiro in defense. Yeah, but then what is he really supposed to do? You know what I mean? What would you do, Richard? with what we had available. Because Kumbala, I know he did come on, but Kumbala obviously wasn't fit to play 75 minutes or plus, 75 plus minutes. So would you have put an Amrabat in the back and then putting Casemiro in the midfield? Or because there wasn't really anything he could really do other than, I think, switch those two. Obviously, he put on Kumbala at the end, but obviously Johnny Evans wasn't fit to give 90, and that's why he subbed him off. So, we're really clutching at straws. That's why, like, there's nothing really too much to criticize the guy about. I think he did what he could with what we had, and I think the players gave what we could. Well, I would have played Scott there. He has played there for Scotland. Actually, you know what? That's kind of true. Um, that's kind of true. He could have probably done that too, maybe. Um, and he has played there for Scotland. I just don't know. Tom Heaton in defense. Yeah, that's what we need. We might as well go get Lee Grant at that point. No, but seriously, I would go get Phil Jones with the pink boots at that point. Sign him up. Get him a 1-day contract, one match contract. Phil Jones out of retirement, pink boots. Get on there. No, I just I don't know. But unfortunately for Richard, we're gonna. How long have I been live? We're gonna wrap this up. Because I don't want to go so long. But before we wrap it up, I'll let you guys get in your last final thoughts and comments. I'm just gonna run and skim through a couple of the news that has come out, because there's some news that has come out. So we'll talk about that before we get off. I gotta go do some things for Mother's Day. It's still 3 in the afternoon here. So I gotta go take care of all that stuff. So as I will skim through the news. So Jim Ratcliffe here. So Jim Ratcliffe has met with Labour leader Keir Starmer to discuss Manchester United's plans for a potential new stadium and regeneration of the wider Trafford Park area, and we need that because as we've seen, it was a waterfall once again at Old Trafford. Still didn't fix it, and it's a fucking disgrace. So that needs to be taken care of. There's a couple things about Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the stadium, but that's for a different time. I kind of want to go to like the so Roy Keane said it's not a good sign if players don't want to come back from injury and play. You will always have those that are carrying injuries, but that you'd hope they would be desperate to get back playing football. So interestingly, for as much shit as Mark Goldbridge gets for some of the stuff he says, Goldbridge has been saying this for like at least the past 2 weeks, that there are some players that you know, not that they don't have an injury, but that they could actually probably come back and play. And if it was like, if we were going for the league title, or it was the FA Cup final, or whatever, they would probably make themselves available, and they have not made themselves available. And it's interesting that Roy Keane has kind of come out and said this now, because he is alluding to the same fact. And obviously Roy Keane would probably know something that's going on inside of the club on the inside. And Wayne Rooney has also said the same thing, where he believes that some of the injured Manchester United players could have played today. So very, very interesting that two of our biggest legends are also saying the same thing that Goldbridge has been saying for the past like 2 weeks. And I actually kind of believe it. I think one or two of them could probably make themselves available, but from their point of view, they're like, what's the point? Season's pretty much over. And obviously that's disappointing, because you don't want that type of attitude and mentality from any of the players. But Roy Keane actually coming out and also saying that he hopes that Eric Ten Hag is given more time, which is very interesting. And actually, I'm happy that Roy Keane is coming out and say that, because I think to the point that we've gotten, yes, we're upset. Yes, we're disappointed. Yes, the fan base is angry. With the performances and where we've gone this season and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think with everything taken into consideration, I think we need to go with him again for one more season. I think we do. I think that is the best possible option. I think we need to make sure we have a very good summer this season. I think the player recruitment has to be an 8 out of 10 this summer. No doubt about it. Has to be an 8 out of 10. And we go from there and we see what's up. You know, you guys are saying, what are you guys saying? Mike Smalling, yeah, yeah, the guy who's likely to be the next prime minister. That's the guy that's most likely. I'm not too privy to the politics that's going on over there. But is he? He's the guy that's most likely to be the next prime minister. So, yeah, I mean, that doesn't even surprise me. So Jim's obviously a billionaire. The guy is a businessman. The business people, they always know, and they always play that game. You know what I mean? They always are pretty privy to who's the guy that's about to be coming in. I gotta go speak with this guy. I gotta form a relationship. They're gonna be empowered. They're gonna be in charge. And I need to get shit done, so I need to go speak to this guy. So it makes sense to me. Richard also saying, well, Wayne said he believes there are players who have injuries but fit enough to play. Yeah, but I that's Goldbridge has been saying that. Goldbridge has been saying that. I'm not Mark's biggest fan, but I think he is correct on this occasion. No, listen. My opinion on Goldbridge is always, I don't agree with everything Goldbridge says, but at the end of the day, I think the hate and the shit I see that's said about him online, I think is very unfair. I think the guy is a fan just like everybody else, and he gives his opinion, and whatever his opinion is his opinion. Um, Obviously he has the biggest channel, in the world, and obviously he's privy to certain information. I don't think he just makes shit up out of his ass. I don't think he's been doing that for quite some time. Um, but he said that, and he's said exactly what Rooney has said. He hasn't accused the players of faking an injury. He said exactly what Rooney has said, that there are players who have injuries, but they could be fit enough to play. Like, they would make themselves available. They just have not. And I actually don't dispute that. I don't dispute that because that seems a fairly reasonable thing. I think a lot of times there are players that they do have some type of an injury and they force themselves through it because they want to play, because there's something to play for or whatever. But these players have decided that the season is pretty much over league wise. There's no reason for themselves to maybe risk themselves. Maybe they're looking out because they want to go play in the Euros and they don't want to get injured, whatever the reasoning is. Um, you know, I think that is definitely a thing though, for sure. Louis Van Gaal on, well, no, but his knowledge of United history leaves a lot to be desired at times. You think so? I don't know. I think he's you're talking about Goldbridge. I think he's fairly conversed in I mean, he might not know it all, but I don't know it all either. Like, I try and learn and go back in the history, but it's a very big history. It's a very long time, and there's a lot of things that happen, you know what I mean? So it's not the easiest thing to do if he didn't live through it. Obviously, he's older than me, so he should know some more things going back to a certain point. But you know, before we end it, let me just read a couple of Eric Ten Hag quotes. Eric Ten Hag saying, "You can't progress a team with so many injuries. It's like swimming with hands on your back." That would be kind of cool. I think he meant behind your back. He said it's like swimming with hands on your back. Yeah, yeah, like behind your back. So that's what he's saying. Because, like, if you had hands on your back, that would probably keep you afloat, no? And you'd probably be moving pretty. You'd be faster than Michael Phelps. That would be something to see. But he said with hands on your back and you have to keep your head up above water level. Still, we are in an FA Cup final. Um, yeah. Uh, Eric Ten Hag on Diallo. He said he played very good and did what we expected him to do. He was brave and creative and defended very good. I was pleased with his performance. Well, there you go. There you have it. Manager giving Diallo some praise, some credit. I think he's deserved it. I think he was brave. I think he was creative, and I think he did pretty good defensively wise as well, getting back into position and stuff like that. And hopefully this leads to him getting more opportunities because I think he deserves those opportunities, and I think he's shown the most out of all the players so far, other than obviously Garnacho. I think he deserves to be up in that pecking order. Um, Ten Hag also coming out and saying that Bruno Fernandes is likely to miss Wednesday's game against Newcastle. So there you go. And to be honest, he might be one of the players that Rooney, Keane, and Goldbridge are talking about. He might be able to be fit. Obviously, he was in training, and obviously he hasn't come back. But then again, if he is one of those players, I fully 100% excuse him because this guy has put his body on the line multiple times. He's never missed a game. He's played through so many different types of injuries. Always made himself available. He might be one of the only players that's literally allowed to excuse himself, to look after himself. Seriously. But at the same time, I'm gonna have to blame Lions here. Uh because Lions said Bruno is gonna get injured, and then sure enough, this guy hasn't come back. I'm just joking with you, Lions. It's obviously not your fault. Yeah, you were right. You know, it was unsustainable, and he's hit the period and the point. I thought maybe it would probably be later on, but yeah, it was like immediately after we said that. It was immediately after that show. I think it was 2 days later, Lions, that he wasn't available, and he was out injured. But yeah, he hit that point. You said, is that the blonde guy? Oh, you think he's obnoxious and can't stand him? Yeah, everybody has a different opinion of him. I've been listening to him for quite some time. And I'm a little bit more open. I think everybody is entitled to their opinion. As long as they keep it a certain way, I guess. There's a couple guys that they like to spew hate. They like to, be quite dramatically over the top all the time. You guys might not be familiar. There's a guy named Rance. Uh, I'm not that guy's biggest fan because it's always 110% negative no matter what, and he can't give anybody credit ever, and it's always just the same story with him. I think at least Mark, he does, try to be level-headed in times, and it is what it is. Richard, you're saying, yeah, Bruno has dragged us to where we are now. What do you mean, down? Like in eighth, or like, are you saying like he's dragged us down, like down, like in a negative way, or he's dragged us like he's like carried us and kept us afloat? Um, because we'd be like way under. Um, you know, Rooney saying team looks just disjointed. It is a team of individuals, and that is a concern. You look even at the middle and bottom end of the table, and there's a togetherness and compactness to them. Well, I 10,000% agree with Wayne Rooney because I have literally said this same exact thing. We don't have a team. We don't have a real team. It is a bunch of individuals. And obviously he's putting it more correct for Sky Sports, Sky TV. But as I said, it is a collection of shit that was supposed to be a beautiful puzzle, but it's all different pieces, and none of the pieces fit together. And so that's what you see. And Rooney's pretty much saying the same thing. It's always nice when you have an opinion, and then later on, not even within the same moment, but later on, one of your ex-legends of the club do come out with almost basically pretty much the same thing that you've been saying for probably weeks and weeks and weeks. It just makes it like, okay, at least we're getting on that point, we agree, and we're both seeing the same things, and probably everybody else is, so we know that that is definitely a thing. You know, Ten Hag on whether there were more positives to take away than from Monday's defeat at Crystal Palace. Yes, but it's still disappointing. I want to win. Doesn't matter who we face on the pitch. We have to win every game and give everything. I mean, he's never strayed from that line. He's never strayed from that line. He always says he wants to keep winning. He wants to win everything. Obviously, we haven't won so much this season. But if you guys can smash the like button for me, I would greatly appreciate it. The likes are a little bit low, but we could get those numbers up. I think everybody, or at least from what I could see, it might be delayed on my end, to be quite honest. But I think we're gonna end it today here. Oh, I got 5 likes. That's okay. We're gonna cut it short and end it here. I think we've gone on long enough. I need to go take care of some other day things. I'll read you guys out before we get out of here. I'll be looking forward to the 99 documentary on Prime. 100%. I can't wait for that. I'm gonna want to watch that. No, we would be in 12th and no FA Cup final. Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I thought you were saying, Richard, about Bruno. But I was just making sure. I was just clarifying. Yeah, 100%. And you could tell. We were missing Bruno. I think Bruno would have gave us a little bit extra today. A little bit more creative going forward. You know what I mean? A little bit more creativity in and around the box. And this is why I was saying, like, Bruno might be a problem at some point, but Bruno cannot be the problem because the rest of the squad lacks. And you need to take care of the rest of the squad. Build that up. Turn that into something very, very solid. And then if it comes to the point of, like, okay, we might have to replace Bruno and get somebody that's a little bit more doesn't lose the ball as much, but can create chances and all that stuff. Then that's when you deal with it. But for the people that always attack Bruno and go at him and say he's the problem, he cannot be the problem when he is literally helping us right now. We have a lot of problems, and they're bigger than Bruno. Richard saying, Bruno is the one person I would give a pass on being injured because he has carried the team. Like button smash. Thank you, Richard, for that. Appreciate it. So yeah, we're gonna end it there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Lion, Richard, running the chat today. All these other people popping in and out. They should have gotten more involved. They're missing out on the good conversation. Our other guys that are usually in here are obviously busy. It is what it is. It's gonna happen. Not everybody could always be available. It's understandable. I'm sure they'll watch it back. They'll watch the replay. They might even throw in a comment down below or something like that. You know what it is. It is Mother's Day at the end of the day. It's Sunday. And I did show up a little late because I was running late. So, it is what it is. But everybody that tuned in, everybody that watched, thank you. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Good conversation. Richard, I'll see you later. Lion, I'm going to see you guys later. We will see. I will try and schedule something, probably not tomorrow, but for Tuesday. For Tuesday, we'll probably do a show. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Ray joined us right at the end. Ray, you missed the whole show, Ray. We're getting off. We got things to go do. But Erik ten Hag in. Yeah, we already said that. Even Roy Keane saying that he wants to, he wants to see Erik ten Hag given another, another season. So I think, I think maybe they might know something because Gary Neville said it. Roy Keane saying it. I don't know if Rooney said anything, but, they seem to be coming out and saying Erik ten Hag at least one more season. So yeah, we know you missed the whole show. It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You could always watch the replay. But it was a good conversation, and yeah, I gotta get off because I gotta go do things, and this has run on long enough. But Ray, at least smash the like button for me if you could before I get up, and don't worry, we'll be my daughter. Yeah, it's okay. And then like I was telling the rest of the guys here, we'll probably do a show If not, I'll figure it out. If I do one tomorrow, I'll schedule it a couple hours before, and it'll most likely be around this time. Around this time, for whatever time it is for you guys. Around this time. If not, then I'll do it Tuesday at around again this time, same time. So until then, we'll catch you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, Mother's Day. Be safe, be good, take care. And thank you guys for tuning in and being here and having a conversation. And we'll catch you on the next one. Be good, guys.